No, I didn't have a particularly religious upbringing. I had a happy upbringing. Just outside of Reading, went to the local church school, but then church schools throughout the country are very often the local school. However, part of what my parents reckoned was the right way to bring up children was that they took me and my brother and sisters to Sunday school in the local church. They didn't particularly go to church themselves, but they felt it was right that their children should learn stuff about God, spirituality. And I think I was caught to an extent by some of the sense of mystery, of worship, of there being something beyond the everyday busyness of yet another day, get up, dash around, eat, sleep, boom, boom, that actually that worship gives you the sense that human beings have purpose. In Britain, this was the 1950s, and that was a time when rather a large percentage of the population did go to church. So the church in a village or a town was part of the centre of the community, and it was linked in with the local school, perhaps the local pub, as where people gathered. It wasn't so much church-focused that there were more church events. It was more socially focused, more widely, that there were increased communications and increased mobility. And quite a lot of that has changed. It's been, you might say in philosophical terms, deconstructed. It's been taken apart, but not really intentionally. It's just happened. Yes, things have changed. It was in the 1970s that the side of religion, which is partly unashamedly about entertainment, it's about something to do, and a good thing to do, and a good social thing to do with other people, began to be replaced by a more individually focused way of being. You could sit down, you could watch television by yourself, you could watch it as your family. Now with our children, they each had their own television in their own room. So instead of going out and doing a social thing, you focused in your own room, and then on their handheld devices, now are very individually focused, but they're part of a virtual community. In those days also, so it wasn't only communications that have increased, it was also mobility, and people didn't travel very far. It was a really big event to go from your own village, say, up to London, and an extremely big event to go overseas. All those ways of being mobile and ways of communicating have taken people away from church. So that's part of what's changed. I guess there's been what you might call a change of awareness, a change in people's mindsets as well. Whereas people were inclined to look for, give me a take on what's true. And the church was saying, the various branches of the church would each give their version of it. And you thought, okay, yeah, I'll chew on that a bit. I think it's much more the thing these days that we're in what you might call a pick and mix, a philosophically pick and mix approach to life, where people will say, don't try and give me the whole answer, please, but actually give me something of what might help me to understand things, and I'll get something else from over there. I'll also try out that. So things sit alongside each other as different models of how you might understand what it is to be human in society. Belief in God means, from a Christian perspective, actually from a Jewish and Muslim perspective as well, believing that each human being is of immense worth. Period. Full stop. Just that. However bright you are, however well you behave, doesn't matter. Just by virtue of one's humanity, one matters.